Hello, good morning. This is Crypto Kib once again, and we woke up, or let me say I woke up to seeing the break of this supply on the Bitcoin USDT chart on 4 hour. So this supply has been an area that has been very wicked and stubborn in the past times, in recent, all the way from the 18th of March 2021 to this very date. And then we have a break of it today after the formation of this descending channel. So what happened is we have the creation of the supply zone, which has been tested multiple times and held. And at this particular time, on the 2nd of April, we had a trip of the supply zone by this particular candle, which just went a bit above the distal line of the supply zone. This could mean that the supply has been taken out, but the wick above it is just a bit insignificant to really matter that it has been taken out. But to anyone having their stop losses on right on the proximal, right on the distal line, then they will be stop hunted. And what happened was that the creation of this demand that took out the supply, because it's still a taken out bet and a very significant one, the demand itself gets stop hunted. As we can see, we have the tripping of it at this particular area and then a closing back inside of it, only to get to retest the same old supply and react back into an even lower demand, which means there is a lot of bear presence at this particular supply. And now today we have a very interesting thing. After the formation of this descending channel and then a break above it, not a convincing break anyways, because we had a lot of interaction with the resisting trend line. After the break here, with just a bit average of volume, we had this particular candle, this one and this one, even this particular demand candle interacting with it, which shows that the break is not a convincing one until this particular, the last 4 hour candle before this very one, where demand really came into the market. If you use my supply and demand indicator, you will understand why this particular candle is colored differently. So demand came into the market and we see the follow-up candle breaking the very wicked or old supply. I call it very wicked because it has held price from moving up multiple times, even when it was a bit tripped. You see, make sure it broke the supply doing that into an even lower one. Now we have a genuine demand that broke the supply here, ramming price into an even higher supply, which was created at the all-time highs. As you can see, if you use my indicator as well, you can understand this color candle. So we have a supply there which is currently resisting price. If we go lower, then we will see some red candles due to this wick. But on this 4 hour, we can only see wicks. So the close of this particular candle above of this wicked supply will matter a lot. And not just anyhow close above it, but at least a still bullish close above it. I want the candle to close at least above 50% of the range of the candle itself. Now, if we look at this creation of this demand zone here, we could see it met all requirements I look for, which is why we have this color differently. This very lows is at 57,870.57, and this very one is at 57,873, which is quite higher than the previous one. And then this very low is at 57,900, which is also higher than any of these two. So we have something like this, an ascending low. We have an ascending low from the past 3 candles, even though you can't quite see it clearly because, okay, let me see this low again. This low is 57,870 and this one is 873. So it's higher, but drawing it is not showing that. So we have an ascending lows on this last 3 candle. And if you look at this candle again, this very candle, you can see it has no upper wick at all. which can qualify as a bullish Marubozu candle. It has no upper wick. What is this showing us? It's showing us that there is little or no bear presence at all at this very supply. And if you trade supply and demand, you know, the more test of a supply and demand zone, the weaker it becomes. But this has proven otherwise, because even more testing is giving us very bearish momentum every time. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different times, and it's giving us bearish momentum. But then this particular candle it has no wick at all. And then when we look at this particular candle again, it has no bottom wick. If it has, it will be very minimum, that is not noticeable to the high. So for this candle to have no bear wick, as in upper wick, and for this particular candle to have no bear wick again, as in bottom wick, it shows that there is very huge demand coming into the market. Or could it mean that there is lack of supply, as in lack of sell-side liquidity at this particular point, leading to the very bullish candles? This is a strongly bullishly closed candle, and this is a strong bullishly opened candle. And now we have this. If this close above this, like this, then it's still a very strong candle running into this supply. And then how it reacts here will determine if we get to come back and test this area now, which has become an area of support and resistance, back into it, and if we get to break it, see another might. Or rather, if we get a rejection from this particular area, they're coming to test the new demand created, and then we get to break these highs. Or another scenario could be we get to range between the demand and the supply for a while before we get to break it, because I do not expect a breakdown of this. For this bearish this descending channel to have a broken means we are in a bullish continuation market. So I will expect a retest of this area where the trend line broke and where the new demand formed, and a continuation higher. But this supply might want to prove stubborn again, so it might also close like this, and the next candle will just break it. It happens. But these are the scenarios. Either it breaks on the second candle that forms after this, or we get some rejection to test this area of old supply now as support and resistance. As you can see, we have a lot of actions here, which means now here has been resistance and we expect it to turn to support. I expect it to turn to support, but then now we expect price to come, break down on it, test the demand, and come back to close above it, which we then say the support has been reclaimed, and then a break of this new supply, the topmost supply, into all-time highs. So these are the scenarios. So let me quickly go down 1 hour time frame and see. And as you can see, the supply is currently holding. So it might not hold on the 4 hour, yes, but we just see that rejection week, which this 1, 2, 3 moves are the rejection weeks. But I will want a bullishly closed candle on the 4 hour to give me a very good idea that we are still in a bullish range. So if you trade supply and demand, you want to do what we call filter down, or going to low time frame to find the origin of the movement. And like we see, as you can see on this particular 1 hour chart, the origin is even the same as where the supply began. So you just have to take the whole bus. If not, probably you could have, okay, let's go to the 30 minutes and see if we can lower down. And the essence of this lowering down is to find high probability trades where you believe the 4 hour might not hold, but then you might get a quick 3 hour or even 5 hour on a lower time frame demand, supply that formed right hand side of this 4 hour demand, supply. So as you can see, this full area is a supply. If you are to draw this, you may just use this candle here, the open of this candle. This will be the retest, and you can even use the top here, which will become resistance at that point. So we are not getting a lower time frame. I do not want to go to the 50 minutes. A lower time frame demand, so you just have to use your boss. So either we get it taken out immediately, or we still get to wait on the 4-hour candle for it to come down a bit, break it, or retest into this demand. And as you can see on 30 minutes, we even have another demand formed right here. So it's getting interesting. So it's likely we see another all-time highs this new week that is about to form, if not today. So that should be it on the BTC analysis and the scenarios that we expect to happen. Right, and let me quickly take the measure of this range. Let me do that with this. Okay, we have a close on the 4-hour now. Those alarms are from the indicators showing me that some zones are formed on some coins. So as you can see, I can't get the mid-range from this. I wanted to see the mid-range and see how it closed. I could have just used Fibonacci on this. Okay, we closed above the 50% range of the entire candle. So that is still good. Not a good close, but it's still okay. So that is it, guys.